Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar. We are about to start, so please let me know whether you can hear me well and also you can see my screen. You can type any symbol like plus in question section and get familiar with question sections of GoToWebinar because after the main presentation part, we are going to have a Q&A section. So if you have any questions during main presentation part, please feel free to ask them and I'll try to address them after the main presentation part. So Okay, thanks. So everything looks good. Let's start. My name is Anastasia and I'm a CRM consultant for Integros. And everything we do at Integros, we do with belief in challenging the status quo in the implementations of CRM solutions. And we do believe that digital transformation is the real way to drive performance, to get better customer experience, and to get competitive advantage. On the previous webinar, I demonstrated the benefits of artificial intelligence-based solution for processing phone call recordings and promised to show how you can accelerate digital transformation in your company and embed Amazon AI services into Sugar without programming. Well, the huge amount of programming is the serious obstacle on the way to the successful digital transformation. So, what are the tasks that must be solved and traditionally are addressed by programming? Firstly, is to set up data exchange automation between CRM and artificial intelligence system, between CRM and channel system, along with new data sources like Internet of Things or digital communities. Next task is to embed outputs of artificial intelligence services into processes in place and in a new one. And of course, automate control of data quality and data accuracy. And last but not least, in your programming efforts will be alignment of processes because of its crucial impact on customer experience. Achieving that requires programming of event detection, identification, and triggering reaction on events, both originated in CRM system internally and received externally. These tasks are key to the successful of the digital transformation of customer experience, and you cannot address them with the regular workflow tool in Sugar. Today, I'm going to present how in a minute, without programming skills, is possible to embed Transcribe and S3 from Amazon into Sugar and configure custom solutions for particular business needs. In the next webinar, I'll present how to automate the data quality control of any complexity if you are not a programmer. So let's go. I need to switch to my browser, and actually that is all what we are going to need for today. So here's Sugar instance, and this instance is integrated with telephony system. As the part of this integration, after conversation is completed, this integration puts recording of the call in a node. Node is related to a call. And now the aim is to initiate voice-to-text process involving Amazon Web Services. So let me open call. So as I mentioned, whenever call is completed, integration puts recording of this call under the node and marks call as ready to be processed by artificial intelligence systems. So this recording must be sent to S3 and to AWS Transcribe. We need to initiate transcription job. And I'm going to configure it with Logic Builder. Logic Builder is a visual designer tool which allows you to automate your task using visual presentation. So I'm going to Logic Builder integrascrm.com and log in under my account. I open project AWS where I have already pre-built logic to send file to S3 and to initiate transcribe job that I'm going to present right away. So I'm load my logic and let me start from the very beginning, close this, and let me describe it step by step. So any logic should have, not actually should, but must have start point. What is the trigger when it all begins? So in this example, we need to send recording to Amazon whenever call is completed and recording is ready to be processed. So as we are speaking about changing data directly in module, so in Logic Builder we are using onDataChange. And define module where change occurs, it's calls module, and when to work, it's after save. Then obviously I do not want to initiate sending file to F3 and start transcribe job whenever call is changed, because maybe it's just newly added call or some description was added. So I need to cut down amount of calls and send only those that really needed to be processed. And how can I do this? Well, actually using this field ready for to be processed by AI system. Let me quickly return to Sugar and show you that this is just a checkbox. So whenever recording is ready, integration with telephony marks this checkbox, means that yes, this call is ready, go ahead. So how can I do this here? Actually, firstly, I need to compare previous value of this field with current one. Means that previous value isn't the same as current one, then it was changed. And that the current value is true, means that it's marked. So that's a simple condition of two criteria. And then when it's true, so both conditions are met, I'm going to the next step and we are going to send file right away, but you may guess that in order to send file, we need this file. And how we can get it? Firstly, we need to find a node that is related to the call. That's actually quite easy, just to find node where parent ID is ID of the call. So if there is actually such node, then due to changes in Sugar architecture starting from Sugar 11, no attachments are stored not directly in node itself, but in a related node to the node. So here with this one step, I find node which is related to node that is related to the call. Yeah, and this node stores recording of the call, actual recording. And now when node at least located, it's time to send it to AWS to invoke our AWS service to call F3. So F3 is object storage, so in cloud. And to call any service, I use operator AWS command. Let me zoom a little bit. So in first drop down, I select service that I'm looking for. Basically, here are all Amazon services that are available. So I'm looking for F3. And the next drop down contains all methods or all actions that are dedicated for methods that I've selected. So all these actions are related to F3 service. And now I need to select method that I'm looking for. You may wondering how it's possible to do. Well, actually, the best option is to Google it and check Amazon documentation. So let's do this quickly. So I use AWS F3 API. Obviously, it's Amazon and it has perfect documentation. I can read here some introduction and so on, but right away I dig into actions. And here are a list of all actions of, for example, for now F3, which are located here, the same actions. So I read all this list, and as I need to put file into bucket into S3, I'm looking for something named put object. That's why I selected put object here as well. Next, it has two inbound ports that also should be filled. First one named service parameters. Of course, it's not possible to use Amazon just right away. You have to introduce yourself. So there is kind of auth information. And if I scroll up a little bit, I'll show you that this is a simple JSON which contains pair of key and secret, which allows you to house in Amazon. So key and secret are related to your Amazon account. You can obtain it there and just fill key and secret with your values. And that's it about introducing yourself. And next one is command parameters. Command parameters is related to methods that was selected. So for example, for put object, obviously we need to define where we are going to put this object bucket name and what we are going to put, basically file itself. And again, how you can get command parameters, how can you know them? Again, we return to documentation, and if we scroll down a little bit, we see example of request and then detailed description of all parameters which requires for each service. And of course, probably we do not need all of them. At least we need required ones. For example, the first one parameter, which is bucket, we see that required yes. That means that we need to identify where we would like this file to be, as a bucket name, basically. So let's return to Logic Builder, and I show you that with simple, again, JSON, I put parameters that must be filled. Only three for a three bucket is bucket, key, which are basically file name, and body. And then with set array elements by path, I fill these keys with values, basically. So bucket, what bucket? With set array element by path, I can put value here, and value is defined simply inputted here from the keyboard. I have in my Amazon account bucket name calls bucket 2021, and here it is. So I just define it here. Then key is the name of the file, so I provide value by getting attachment name, which was issued by telephone system, so it's the name of recording, and just adding current timestamp to make it unique. And very final is body itself, and if you're wondering how you can pass the file, so with Logic Builder, it just get file contents operator and just give it ID of the node where attachment is stored. And as we discussed previously, we find node here on previous step. And basically, when these parameters are defined, as a result of this operator, we have file in S3 in provided bucket that we define here, with names that we define here, and file actually also we define in request itself. So file is in the bucket, and now it's time to initiate transcribe job. So initiate voice to text means to start process of transforming audio recording into text. And let's go to this. Here I have just output and log. Firstly, to introduce during webinar the results of AWS S3 service results. And also it's maybe useful for logging actions that happen during this integration. So here I have some piece of logic, and I'll get back to it in a minute. And then it's calling AWS Transcribe. So again, from the very first dropdown, I select new service, transcribe for this time. And second is the actions that I'm looking for, and action for transcribe is start transcription job. Again, I used Amazon documentation to get known what are actions for transcribe service and what parameters are for transcription job. Again, here we have service parameters. They are the same as we used for S3. If I scroll you down or up, to be honest, to where I set them firstly, and just reuse them. So I put this result with my key and secret, and it put it in new request to transcribe service. But common parameters, obviously, they are not the same because transcribe requires their own parameters. Let's dig into it. Here again, I have JSON with where listed all parameters that should be filled. And first one is language code. And with transcribe, you can put just a list of languages which are used in recording, and transcribe will guess, or not better use, identify language in the recording. But in my case, it was a little bit easier because operators are divided by regions and by teams. And based on this region, I can, to be honest, be sure what language is in the call, what used during the call. And that's time when I get back to this piece of logic that I skipped. So what is performed here is to get team from call, and then simply checking what team it is. Like if it's Spain, then language is Spanish. If it's France, then language is French, and default one language is English. So this part is dedicated to selecting language of the call. Then next parameter is media file URI. What is this? It's basically link on the recording that is stored in S3 bucket. And where we can get it? Well, actually, we have just sent file to bucket. So from the response from the bucket, we can get URL on this file and provide it in this request. Next parameter is media format. So I'm 100% sure that all my recordings are in the same format. So I simply type format of recordings here. Then there are a few settings like max speaker labels. I'm sure again that all recordings are between two people, operator and client. So I just again provided simply value 2 here. And then there is vocabulary name. With Amazon Transcribe, you can use obviously custom teach model to transcribe recording, and also you can use vocabularies. So here I select pass with vocabulary, and I'm just fill here vocabulary that I'm going to use. So this vocabulary is uploaded and in use in Amazon Transcribe. And very final parameter here is transcription job name. It's required parameter and it must be unique. So again, I'm reuse from the previous part name of the attachment that was issued by telephone system with current timestamp. And actually that's it. Or when all parameters are set, I put it in the command parameters, and that's it. As a result, transcription job should be started. And that's it actually. As a very final piece, I have here again output and log, just for firstly demo purposes, but also it's useful to get it during operation work. So maybe let's give it a try and see how it works. Firstly, let me open my bucket. So here's my bucket, calls bucket 2021. And you see there is only one file here, objects1. Let's try to initiate our call processing and see whether it comes here. So of course, for demo purposes, I'm going to update this value manually. So let's do this, like save. And let's wait when record is saved, then go to bucket and refresh our page and see what happens. So, okay, here is second file that was just added, recording of call that I marked as ready to be processed. And you see time is, it have been just added. And if I go to the transcribe, you can see that there is work in progress. So we initiated transcription job. And also we can go to the log. Just again, for demo purpose, I can show you how it outputs in log. Here is example of response from Amazon S3 service. And here is example of response from Transcribe service. Here we have job status that's in the progress, all input parameters, and so on and so forth, which is used further when we are going to get results from this Transcribe service. So actually that's it. And basically, as you can see, it's quite easy and takes, I think, less than an hour, considering that it's needed to study documentation of services to get to integrate Sugar with Transcribe and A3. And also no-code configuration ensures quicker responses to the inquiries from users. It may take just a couple of hours to implement improvements into the Sugar after user asked for the changes. And Boston Consulting Group analysts, and not only them, confirms that small and quick improvements are critical to accelerate digital transformation and gain success. That is why we witness that Logic Builder not only allows the Sugar platform to do the work better, but does accelerate the digital transformation. And now time for your questions. So please let me know whether you have any questions. And if you do not have them right now, or you do not want to put them right now, please do not hesitate to contact us in any convenient way. Of course, we will be more than happy to help and answer your questions. Well, I believe there is no questions for now. So I can only say thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for watching this webinar. Again, if you have any questions, please let us know these questions. And thank you. Have a nice day and bye-bye.